Hi everyone, this is Literature Decoded, where we decode each and every concept that you might find difficult in your journey towards government job preparation. Whether you're preparing for DSSSB, KVS, NVS, or any other state examination in which literature questions are asked, then this is the right place for you. In the last few videos, we have discussed in great detail about historical background of Chaucer, what all events shaped his poetry, his writings, shaped and also influenced. We also discussed the different forms of couplets that he has used. For example, what is the difference between octosyllabic and decasyllabic couplet? Why is decasyllabic couplet called heroic couplet? What are the three forms of stanzas? For example, we have Chaucerian stanza, which is also called rhyme royale. Why is it called so? We have Ottava Rima and we have Spenserian stanza. What is the difference? And most important of all, how do we learn these three forms of different stanzas? We have all covered all these stanzas in great detail in my last video. If you have not seen the videos or if you are confused about these terms, links are in the description box below. You can go and check them out. Now, for our convenience, we have divided Chaucer's works in three phases. For example, the first is French, then Italian, and then English. French works are already covered in great detail again on my channel, and this video will talk about the Italian phase. In French we have two works, Italian three works, and in English we have two works in which the very important work Canterbury Tales will be done in greater detail. Now, when Chaucer visited Italy, when he was done with French and he visited Italy, there he got influenced by the work of three different writers, and these are the names which you have seen in the Italian literature as well. We have Dante, Petrarch, and Boccaccio. These are also known as the fountains of Italian literature. So, when Chaucer visited Italy, he was greatly inspired by the works of three writers, and that is what is reflected in his works as well, in the next works. So, for our convenience, we have divided those works in which this influence was seen into different parts. So, the first work that we have, I'm writing the works here so that we can discuss the characteristics over here, and we will discuss the characteristics in such a way that everything is laid out here in a tabular form so that it's easier for you to retain as well. So we have three works. The first work is House of Fame. Then we have Parliament of Fowls. And third, we have Troilus and Cressida. See, I told you last time also, we cannot and we should not discuss the stories of all the works because this is just Chaucer. We have many writers, we have many poets, and how many poetry or how many stories can actually a student do, right? Or they can retain. We can't do that. So that is realistically not possible. So what we'll do is we'll decode this Chaucer's Italian phase in such a way that it is important from your exam point of view. Okay, so if you feel that something is missing, rest assured that I will tell you everything in greater detail. But if you still feel that the story has not been explained or this part was missing, then that portion is probably not going to come in your exam, because I have analyzed different previous year questions of different areas. I've discussed TGT, English, DSSSB. I have seen also UPTGT. So those areas are not important for us to understand and keep in mind. That is why whatever will be discussed here, only go through that again and again, and also make sure that you're doing the previous year questions. That will give you an idea whether this video is relevant or not. Okay, so we have Troilus and Cressida as the third work. So we have to discuss and we have to keep in mind only these three works of the Italian phase. Now, how we will continue with the work. For example, we have House of Fame as the first work. See, you can keep like this in your mind that someone very famous is waving you. Okay, someone who is very famous. And for example, in my mind, let's say Shah Rukh Khan is coming, so we've all seen videos of him going up on his balcony and he's waving everyone, and he's acknowledging everyone's presence, all the fans, etc., and they're dying to meet him. So that is what image comes to my mind when I think of someone who is famous. Okay, so you also can create an image in your mind. Someone who is famous is telling you or is waving you like this. Okay, so 5. That means House of Fame. Fame means famous. House of Fame. 5 points we have to keep in mind. That's it. Okay, what all points do we need to keep in mind? The very first is that this is a dream vision. A dream vision is where the narrator falls asleep and he dreams of something, and whatever he dreams of is written as a poetry form. Okay, so first it is a dream vision. Second, it is written in octosyllabic couplet. Octosyllabic couplet, I have already told you. Octo means 8 syllables, 8 syllables per line. So this is actually carried on from his French works, because in French period he was using octosyllabic couplet. So this is the continuation of the French work. So see, again, this division is for our own reference. He has not said that this is my French work, this is my Italian work. So we see some elements of the French merging in the Italian phase as well. So we have the second, which is octosyllabic couplet, which is 8 syllables per line. Then third, this is influenced by Dante's Divine Comedy. See, I told you Dante, who was writing in Italy. Here, his work, Divine Comedy is a work of Dante. This work influenced Chaucer's House of Fame. How will you keep this in mind? You can make one story only, don't make many stories. So, someone who is a comedian or someone who is a very famous comedian, so fame and comedy should come together. Someone who is a very famous comedian is waving me goodbye or is waving me, right? Or is standing and he is waving towards me, he or she, anything. So, Divine Comedy, House of Fame, and 5 points. Clear? This thing is clear? Okay, influenced by Dante's Divine Comedy. Then fourth point is this book, this House of Fame, this poem, this is divided into 3 parts. And last, this is actually an incomplete poem. Incomplete work of Chaucer. I hope this is clear. See, these are these all points will be coming in your exam. For example, it will come like this. Which work was influenced by Dante's Divine Comedy? House of Fame. So don't think that everything is just easy. When these points will come as MCQ form, they can confuse you. That is why I am telling you how to learn this. See, this is a dream vision and octosyllabic couplets. These two things were seen in his French works also. So how do we retain this in our mind? We can understand it in this manner, that since it is a continuation, so after French work, Italian works are coming, right? And the very first Italian work will have some features of the previous French work also, right? This is very logical. So whatever in the French works, whatever features were there, that is reflected in the Italian work as well. So first and second, dream visions and octosyllabic couplets are used in French works also. So we see that in the first work of Italian, consider it a timeline. Okay, from the French we are coming towards the Italian. Now French may he was using dream and octosyllabic. In the Italian first work also he is using dream vision and octosyllabic couplet. Then someone who is famous, someone who is a comedian who is very famous is waving you. So Dante's Divine Comedy was House of Fame. Clear? This will be clear. And D more or less, you'll recall this once you go through this again and again. Then it is divided into 3 parts. And incomplete work of Chaucer is not a very great detail that you should keep in mind. Just this is for your information. Clear? Then we move on to the second work, which is called the Parliament of Fowls. I have already told you how to learn these names also in my last video. How do we learn this? We learn this in a manner that someone, for example, here in India we have the parliaments, right? We have different houses of parliament, right? And I told you, consider this as, two MPs who are sitting in parliament. So Troilus and Cressida are two MPs of parliament who sit in different houses. So you can, you have to form a story in your mind, otherwise everything will just mix up and you'll not be able to recall in your exams. That is the most important thing. I know you'll understand this, but retaining the information is more important. Okay, so let's move on to Parliament of Fowls. Again, we will continue in this manner only, but there are many more details that need to be added. And also one more thing, this is a very important work from exams point of view. I'll tell you how. First, again, this is a dream vision. Okay, the narrator dreams, and he in those dreams he goes on to a place. Now I'll tell you how to learn also, but let me just write the details on the board. It is a dream vision. It is also an allegory. Allegory means that there are symbols, and those symbols denote something else. So what do they denote? I'll tell you. Just give me 2 minutes. So we have, this is a dream vision and this is an allegory. This is also a beast fable and a debate. Okay, basically what happens is, in the Parliament of Fowls, the narrator goes to sleep, and in the sleep he goes on to a temple. The temple of Venus is there, and there he sees a debate which is going on among three different eagles, and they're debating over one female eagle, and they want to win the love of that female eagle. The nature is the one who is presiding over this parliament, and they're debating, and they're talking about how they are special, and they're trying to win over the love of that female eagle, right? So this is the basic premise. How do we learn this? First, you can learn this in this sense. See, this is A, B, I'm just writing A, B, C, D, and let's just say E and F. Okay, let's just say in this one go. So A will stand for allegory, B will stand for beast fable, C does not usually stand for anything, so let's just cut it. Okay, and D stands for dream vision. C and E actually, they don't denote anything, but let's just wait. Maybe at the end, maybe you will see that C and E also denote something. So let's wait. And then F can denote for the fowls. Understood? All these things have come together. So it is an allegory, it is a beast fable, it is also a dream vision, and it is what all are we talking about? We are talking about the Parliament of Fowls, and also D will stand for the debate. Very important question from exams point of view, because I have seen this in the previous year, that which work of Chaucer has a debate format in it. That is called the Parliament of Fowls. Okay, so which one of the following works is a beast fable? Beast is basically used for animals. So because animals are involved here, eagles are involved here, that is why beast fable is used here. Okay, so beast here are animals, so we have the Parliament of Fowls. I hope this is clear, because this question comes in your exam. So first we have, it is a dream vision, it is an allegory, it is a beast fable, and it is a debate. Then moving on to the second point. Here the second point was that it was written in octosyllabic couplet. So here also we have to see what form, different form he has used in this Parliament of Fowls. He has used Chaucerian stanza, which is also called as Rima Royale. Chaucerian stanza or Rima Royale, which is a stanza of 7 lines written in the rhyme scheme A B A B B C C. These are the information that you need to keep in mind. How to learn this, I have explained in my last video. Go and check it out if you have not seen that video. Okay, so this was the first work in which Chaucer introduced his stanza, which is known as Chaucerian stanza. But to confuse you, the examiner will not give Chaucerian stanza. The examiner will give Rima Royale. Why is it called Rima Royale? Yes, very good. If you've seen the video, you will know that it is called Rima Royale because it was used by King James I of Scotland in his work The King's Square. That is why, and he popularized it as well. That is why Chaucerian stanza is called Rima Royale. Okay, and it is of 7 lines, and this is the rhyme scheme. How to learn? Again, I have explained everything. I'll just explain it to you. Rima Royale, someone who is royal, that means there's 7 generations will, will be doing ash. 7 generation, royal, royal, 7 lines. Clear? So it is written in Chaucerian stanza. How is this question integrated? They'll simply ask, in which work Chaucer used Rima Royale for the first time? Parliament of Fowls. Clear? And also you can learn it like this. Royal, someone who is royal, they'll be sitting in the parliament. So parliament and royal should be coming together. In your mind, Rima Royale, Chaucerian stanza, Parliament of Fowls. Clear? So Chaucer used Rima Royale in his work Parliament of Fowls for the first time. Clear? Then we can move on. If we don't know any influence, but this was the first work in which we see the reference. Very important point from exams point of view. Reference of Saint Valentine's Day. Why? Because they're all the 3 eagles. They are competing for the love of one such person, right? Of one eagle. That is why it is the first reference to Saint Valentine's Day. This question is also usually asked in the exams, that which work of Chaucer has a reference to Saint Valentine's Day? It is Parliament of Fowls. Now, Saint Valentine's, that means lovers have to be involved, so you can celebrate marriage also. So this was actually on the marriage written to commemorate actually the marriage, celebrate or commemorate the marriage of King Richard II and Queen Anne of Bohemia. That's it. These are the points that you need to keep in mind. And you might think that it is looking very easy, but these are all separate points. That is why I have given you it in one sense, so that it is easier for you to recall and retain. But it comes like this. For example, I'm putting a star over here. Debate, very very important question, mostly asked. Then it is a dream vision. Yes, we all know this because this was also a dream vision. But this is a beast fable, again very very important. This is the first time Chaucer used Rima Royale, again becomes very important. Which reference? Reference of Saint Valentine's Day. And again, this is very important, that King Richard II was the one who was ruling at that time, so whose marriage was celebrated in Chaucer's work Parliament of Fowls, King Richard II and Queen Anne of Bohemia. So these two are important points. Clear? So I have given you in this just this part, we have discussed more or less 7 to, let's say, 10 MCQs in just these two works, and only these are the important points which you need to keep in mind. I'm saying it again and again. Trust me. If you don't, it's okay, right? Don't trust me, I would say. Just watch this video and then do the MCQs. I'm sure you will find questions from here. And if I'm missing any point, you can tell me in the comments also, so that I can include it in my next video, right? But please go through the MCQs and then tell me how many MCQs are you able to do. Or if not, see the video and make your notes, revise those notes, go to ChatGPT, tell ChatGPT to give you 50 questions related to Chaucer's Italian works, and all of these will be reflected, I can guarantee you. Okay, so now let's just move on without wasting any more time. Let's just move on to the third work, which is called Troilus and Cressida. Very very important work. Again, we will go in that sense that everything here is aligned together, and we don't have to actually mix and match in our brains. First, we don't know whether it's a dream vision. We don't know. It's not, right? It is not a dream vision. It is, but it is known as the longest poem of Chaucer. It is the longest poem of Chaucer, and second, it is also written in Rima Royale. Actually, in many books, you will see that Chaucer used Rima Royale for the first time in Troilus and Cressida, but it is not the case. He used it in Parliament of Fowls, but he perfected it in Troilus and Cressida. So this also becomes very important, because sometimes in your MCQs you will not see this, you will not see this option, but you will see Troilus and Cressida. So if question like this comes and Parliament of Fowls is not mentioned, then you need to mark Troilus and Cressida, because here he perfected the Chaucerian stanza, right? So here this is also written in Rima Royale. Third, this is actually a very psychologically complex work of his. That is why this is also known as an epic work, and it is set against the backdrop of the Trojan War. So these two are lovers, and they want to be together, but somehow they end up in different camps in different territories. And Cressida actually breaks Troilus's heart, and so it goes on. It is a very psychologically dense poem. So what we have to keep in mind, that it is set against the backdrop of Trojan War. This point comes in your exam, that which work of Chaucer has elements of Trojan War in it. Then it is Troilus and Cressida. Keep this in mind, that these two are lovers who are separated during the war. Then fourth and fifth, a very very important point. The fourth point is that it is also influenced by an Italian work. So it is influenced by Il Filostrato of Boccaccio. Okay, so first one was influenced by Dante's Divine Comedy, and this is influenced by Il Filostrato. You can keep this in your mind, that these two were lovers. They got separated, so they got ill because they could not they could not actually withstand the separation. So you can keep it like it's a very lame thing, but just for your reference. So they got ill, right? They got sick because they could not handle that separation. Okay, and fifth one is that this is actually dedicated, this work is dedicated to Gower, who was one of the contemporary of Chaucer, and he wrote it in O Moral Gower. So he sort of at the beginning of the poem, he dedicated this work to one of his contemporary, Gower, and he wrote this O Moral Gower. So this actually question comes in the exam. So these are the points which you need to keep in mind for Troilus and Cressida. And one more thing, that there is a character named Pandarus, who is Cressida's uncle. This also, because I saw this question, so I thought that I should mention this. Sometimes it can come, if even one question comes from my video, I would be very happy. So Pandarus is one such character in the poem, who is Cressida's uncle. Okay, so these are the points which you need to keep in mind. This is very important, that he was the this Troilus and Cressida is the longest work of Chaucer. This was the poem where he perfected the Rima Royale or the Chaucerian stanza, and this is also very important. It is the work which is set against the backdrop of Trojan War. These two again very important. See, I can put stars everywhere, because that is what I'm telling you. Whatever I am saying here, whatever I have written here, is the most important. Okay, nothing will come apart from this. You don't have to go and watch videos. You don't have to go through Google and gather information. Everything is right here. I will step aside. You can take a screenshot, and then I'll continue on how to retain all of these facts, and then we can just end the video. I will step aside. You can just take a screenshot. Right. So this was about Chaucer's Italian works. We only have three works, and these are the works which we need to keep in mind. Again and again, I am telling you, go through the videos, make your own notes, and then do MCQs. Okay, once you do the MCQs, then come back and judge the video whether it was appropriate or not, right? That is it. We have come towards the end of the video. In the next video, we will be talking about his English work, most important video, because we will be doing in great detail Canterbury Tales. Now, if you have any doubt, or if you could not understand anything, or if you want any notes, anything, you can put in the comment section below and I will be happy to respond you. You can go through the email ID and you can follow us on Instagram. It's by the name Lit Decoded, and I'll try to decode everything for you. Thank you and have a good day.